Hello YouTube, back once again with my film reviews, and the other night I watched the highly anticipated, animated adaptation of The Killing Joke, and yeah, let's talk about it. For those who don't know, The Killing Joke, I've actually never read the comic, but, I know what it's about. Obviously, after watching this, I know what it's about, but, what it is, it basically tells the backstory of the Joker and almost, portrays him in the most sympathetic light, showing that he wasn't always a devious criminal mastermind, but at one point he was just a down on his luck guy that just went crazy because, as he puts it, he had one really bad day, the other big deal for this, it did further cement the connection between him and Batman, for the fact that he is able to guess that Batman, you went crazy because let me guess, you also had one really bad day like I did, and so yeah, that's the movie. There was tons of hype going for this film from all DC fans, mainly for the fact that it was getting a theatrical run, which is the first time an animated Batman movie got one since the Mask of the Phantasm. Which, you haven't seen that, go see that. That's a fantastic Batman movie, highly underrated. That, and it's also the fact that it was going to go for the hard R rating, which really excited people. Just for the fact of just the idea of how intense they could make this, because a lot of a big part of the story is the Joker is trying to psychologically damage Commissioner Gordon, trying to show that he goes crazy because he makes Commissioner Gordon go through one really bad day, as he says. So, yeah, and now it's out, and oh god, there is one huge problem that everyone's talking about. Let's go through the good of this movie first. The good. Well, let me just first say, as you can expect by the voice cast, the voice acting is just great in this movie. Kevin Conroy as Batman, as the voice of Batman. It's Kevin Conroy as Batman. I mean, does anyone not say he's like one of the three best Batmans? For me, he's definitely in the top three with Keaton and Affleck. He's just an amazing Batman. Just how much intimidation he's just able to portray through his voice. Well, he's a voice actor. He's not a live action actor. But my God, is it such a wonderful voice that just makes you feel like this guy is the Batman. So Kevin Conroy, he's definitely one of the best Batmans ever. Mark Hamill as the Joker, my personal favorite version of the Joker. For me, he is my ideal version of the Joker, just someone who hits the perfect balance between being both incredibly, horrifically evil and terrifying, and also being really darkly hilarious at the same time. How Mark Hamill's able to hit that balance, I just find incredible, and he's my personal favorite Joker, so I was pumped to see him in this, and he's just as good as ever in this. And there's also newcomer Tara Strong as Batgirl / Barbara Gordon, and what can I say? It's Tara Strong. She's always great in whatever she does, and no exception here. She does a great job with the voice work. Unfortunately, what they gave her wasn't the best, but we'll get to that later. So voice acting is great, and I'll just say this: it's just great to see an animated version of this comic. Like I said, I never read the comic, The Killing Joke, but I know what happens in it. Like, I've seen many more of the more famous panels, and it's just great to see a fully voice acted version of this. Like, because there are parts of this movie that do just follow the comic word by word. Like, it's just completely taken straight from the comic, every line they say, and it's just great to, like I said, just great to see an animated version of it, because you hear Mark Hamill giving just being able to do the performance as the Joker before he became the Joker, just doing the voice of a sympathetic, just down on his luck guy. That was great to hear. That, like I said, it's The Killing Joke. It's the comic that gave the deeper connection to Batman and the Joker, and it is just really effective with such scenes when the Joker just says to Batman, let me guess, Batman, you went crazy because you had one really bad day like I did. And he's right, that is why Batman went crazy. And just like the Joker, didn't become a psychopathic criminal, but he definitely lost his mind to a certain degree. So That was great to see. Kevin Conroy, when he gets to do the laugh at the end of the movie, the same way the comics ends, God, was that so effectively uncomfortable just hearing Kevin Conroy laugh as Batman. Well, when you ever see Batman laugh, I don't or hear him. I don't think he's ever laughed in any of the movies, or the animated series. So yeah, this is probably the first time we ever heard like Batman legitimately laughing, and to hear Kevin Conroy do it, he gives such a it's so uncomfortable when he does it, like it should be. Just hearing Batman starting to burst out laughing, and so that was great. And and like I said, even though they do follow for the most part the comic word by word and don't deviate at all, when they're doing the Killing Joke, they don't deviate at all. They do add one thing in which they had a musical number for the Joker, and it's pretty good. Like I say, it's Mark Hamill doing the Joker, giving a musical number, which is both funny and creepy at the same time, and it's just great to watch. Gotta give full. So, like I said, this movie does benefit for the fact it is just the Killing Joke, essentially. It's not its own story, it's just an adaptation of the Killing Joke. So that's the good voice acting and just the fact it's just great to see an animated version of this comic. Now, what's the bad of this movie? There's one big one everyone's talking about. I'll get to that at the end. But let's go through the more minor ones first. The animation wasn't the best in this movie. I know I should be giving this movie leeway for the fact this was meant to be straight to DVD release, but my only thought, if you're gonna throw this into theaters, can't you put a bit more money behind it? Because there's like some really janky animation in this movie. There's some parts that look really good, but there's also some parts that look really bad. It gets really distracting from time to time. What else? I have another problem with this movie in which I don't feel the director fully realized this was an animated movie. And what I mean by this is, I know that sounds kind of odd, but what I mean by this is, when you read a comic, you can basically the pacing can be whatever you want. How the characters say their lines, how the pacing is, like what happens in between panel and panel, like what you don't see, that can just exist in your head. Like it's all fully in your imagination. The problem with this movie, though, is it's a movie, so you see and hear everything, and because of that, it really suffers. Like, some parts of the comic, which like are like the better parts, like do suffer because it's a film, and you had to show you had to show or given a cue to, because like, for example, like for those who don't want to know how this ends, cut out now. But the way this ends, it ends with the Joker telling Batman a joke in which they both start laughing, and then the Joker stops laughing, but Batman keeps laughing until it ends. It's like the comic ends and the movie ends. Like, it just cuts, and in the middle of Batman laughing, and in the comics, what a lot of people have read this as, or think what this meant is Batman just killed the Joker. He just snapped the Joker's neck, and because of that, and it works with a comic because you don't hear what would be going on in the background. Essentially, they just give you the dialogue of Batman laughing, and you don't see what's going on. The problem with a movie, though, when you have music, you have the sound of rainfall, and you have Batman laughing, like, if all they would literally have to do was cut out the sound of the rain falling, so you would just realize you're not hearing anything but Batman's laughing at the moment, and you could interpret this as Batman just killed the Joker. The Joker gave Batman one really bad day, and it pushed Batman over the edge, and he killed the Joker. And but the problem is, you hear the rain. So unless Batman is the most silent assassin of all time, you can't buy the fact that he killed the Joker. Like, you would have heard struggling or the sound of something breaking, but there's nothing, so I don't know how you can read this as Batman kills the Joker at the end of this, and it does, and that is a bummer, because that's by far a more interesting ending, just the idea that Batman, like, just completely lost it, but you can't get that because this is an animated movie. Like, another, like, example is, like, for those who don't know, the way the Joker tortures Commissioner Gordon is he cripples it's how Batgirl became Oracle, in which he cripples Barbara Gordon by shooting her through the spine and then taking pictures of her naked, like, just, like, basically twitching in pain on the floor. And yeah, and the thing is, in the comic, like, you can just show, like, one panel, like, or a few panels, but you don't know what comes in between those panels. The problem is with the movie is you see everything of him, like, going, like, through, like, seeing all these pictures, and that gets to my next point. For a movie that praised itself, like, really, like, pushed its marketing, it went for the hard R, like, if you were hoping for some really intense, some really graphic imagery, it's not here. Like, I was shocked this got the R rating once I was done watching it. I actually, like, checked, like, did I see, like, a censored, like, PG-13 cut of this, like, movie? Like, was that just the version I saw? Like, no, this was the R rating, and that was really, like, you could have gone all out with some really unsettling, uncomfortable imagery, like, for, like, scenes like Commissioner Gordon, like, seeing, like, the pictures of, like, his daughter, like, basically, like, twitching in pain, but it's not. It's really quick and really nothing that unsettling, and, well, it's still somewhat unsettling, but it could have been a lot worse. Like, this could, like I said, if this went for the hard R, it could have been super effective, like, with how dark the imagery is, and you could believe that, Commissioner Gordon, like, would go crazy by this, like, even, like, and going back to my last point about, like, how there's the problem that this is animated, like, another huge problem, like, just to give it, like, a final example, like, just when, Batman saves the Commissioner Gordon after he's basically been psychologically tortured, it's supposed to be this big deal when, like, Batman says, like, what should we do? And just, Commissioner Gordon just decides to keep to his, justice, to his, morals, and says, bring the Joker in by the book, like, don't do anything, you shouldn't do, but, like, like, in the comic, like, you can imagine, like, there's, like, a pause, like, maybe, like, he's really struggling to, like, hold on to his morals, like, he's in a moment of complete desperation and rage and misery, but, like I said, it's an animated movie, so basically Batman's like, what do you want me to do, Gordon? He's just like, oh, just go bring him in by the books, and, like, it loses something because of that. I really do feel the writers and director just didn't fully realize this was an animated film. This wasn't the comic. They had to add a few things, like, or pace it differently for the fact it is a movie instead of a comic, and that is a problem. And so those are the minor points. Animation wasn't great. They didn't fully realize this was a film, in my opinion, and this movie did not by any means go for the hard R. So yeah, but now let's talk about the big one everyone's been discussing, which is the entire first half of this movie. Oh, Jesus Christ. Now, this was not part of the original story, The Killing Joke. Literally, there's a part the movie just fades to black, it fades back in, and that's when the comics of The Killing Joke starts. About 35 minutes in. Now, everything before that was completely original material, which is supposed to flesh out Batgirl as a character, because, in case for those who didn't know, that she gets, so you could theoretically feel more, if you, for an audience who didn't know anything about Batman or Batgirl before this, could theoretically feel more for Barbara Gordon when she had shot through the spine and is disabled, and yeah, and so I wasn't against this idea. Someone just said, hey, we're gonna add like 30 minutes onto this movie to flesh out background. Like, I'd be like, yeah, okay, sure, just as long as you do it well. Well, that's where they really fuck it up. they tried to add Batgirl, develop Batgirl in the first half, but my god, was it just awful. It is just unbelievably bad, the first half. Because my god, oh Jesus Christ, like, they make Batgirl a character who's supposed to be a real badass, like one of like Batman's like closest, one of like his best partners he ever has, like they just make her into an over-emotional whiner instead of this complete badass she's supposed to be. It just, Jesus Christ, like, everyone's talking about this, but it's true. It really just comes off as the only reason she puts on the Batgirl costume every night and fights crime is because, not because she wants to fight for truth and justice and all that shit, it's because she wants to fuck Batman. That is all she wants. She wants to fuck Batman more than anything. And, oh, Jesus H. Christ. God. How did you... It's so stupid. What is just kind of uncomfortable for the fact, like, isn't, like, Batman supposed to be, like, 20 years older than her? Like... Doesn't she, like, anytime she has a romantic interest, it's usually, one of the with Tim Drake, right, that Robin, but, and because of that, it is just so creepy how much she just wants to fuck Batman. And not just that, though, the fact that that seems to be her only goal, is to fuck Batman, is the only thing she cares about, and, oh god, I really wish I was joking about this, but no, like, there's a scene where she literally just starts, this could have worked if it was written well, but it wasn't. It was written probably as shittily as they could possibly have gone for. Literally, just every scene with Barbara Gordon is literally just her talking to her friend at a library, and quick thing, were any homosexuals offended by that guy? Because he seemed to be a pretty jarring gay stereotype. Like, did anyone find that offensive? Whatever. I'm just wondering. Like, did any homosexuals just think, like, this is, like, a really cruel representation of, like, homosexuals in media? But whatever, I'm not talking about that. But literally she's just like saying, like, God, like, I just want to fuck Batman more than anything, and that's literally all she says to her friend. The guy's just like what do you do at night? Just like, and she's like, I don't know, I kind of just want to fuck my friend Batman, and then literally it all comes to a head in which she starts getting into a fist fight with Batman. Like, he's grabbed her arm, and then she just makes out with him and starts fucking him. My god, I wish I was making this up, but I'm not. This actually happens. And it really does become even more offensive, like, when it makes it seem pretty clear that the only reason that she's Batgirl is because she wants to fuck Batman. Because literally, the moment after she fucks him, she literally just, like, takes off her outfit and just says, I'm done being Batgirl. I have fulfilled my life's goal of sleeping with you. There was no other reason I wanted to do this job besides the fact that I could sleep with Batman. My god, is this... So, I give this movie credit to a certain degree. That just for the fact I walked into this just saying it's probably going to be a really well done story of, like, the connection between Batman and the Joker, and they managed to both portray homosexuals and women in a horrible light in this movie. Was this movie's goal? Was it trying to get more people to watch it by being really offensive in the first half so more people would talk about it and therefore go see it? Because if it is Fuck you, writers. Fuck you. That is a disgusting thing to do. Jesus Christ. And, oh god. Not just that, though. And it's so sad, because you have Tara Strong, yeah, poor Tara Strong, one of the best voice actresses out there. You can just tell she is acting her heart out, trying to make this come off as non-offensive and as believable as possible, and it just, even with her great talent, it doesn't work. It's just offensive, it's creepy, it's unsettling, not at all in a good way. It's just gross, and this feels like what when people, think back to, earlier years of comic books, how they portrayed woman, this felt like that's what this was. Just be sexist, offensive. Oh my god, there's this whole part in the first half when they're talking about the idea of, something pushing you over the edge, and what pushes Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, over the edge? What's supposed to be one of the most a badass crime fighter of the night? It's the fact that one of the villains she brings down, has the hots for her and, makes fun of her period. This. And, my god. I've heard this argument for those who have been trying to defend this adaptation, saying, you know what? You know what? The first half, it doesn't matter. This is still a fantastic adaptation of The Killing Joke because the first half just doesn't bring down the rest of the movie, because if you're watching this at home, you can just skip the first half. You can just fast forward, skip the first 30 minutes, watch the last 40 minutes, and you have a perfectly solid adaptation of The Killing Joke then. And when I say to those people, no. Don't you dare say that ever. You cannot say that about a movie. You cannot say... That's like after seeing Batman vs. Superman. If I just said, okay, let me tell you, if you just fast forward, through all this, the 50% of the movie that was shit, and watch the 50% was good, it is one of the best superhero movies we've got, and it fully lives up to the idea of Batman vs. Superman. There is nothing wrong with this movie. You can just skip those parts. No! This is a movie! You have to judge it as a whole. If they wanted to add this, you have to judge it. That is how a movie works. You just can't ignore an entire half, because you can just say you can skip over it. Especially a half that is just this offensive, sexist, and wrong. So shut the fuck up, anyone who is saying it doesn't matter. In the first half, you can just ignore it. No. They put this in this movie. They spent half the time on this movie. I'm talking about this half of the movie. And so yeah, that's the big problem with this movie. There is a half of this movie that, like I said, is offensive to women, it's offensive to homosexuals, it is offensive to... It's just offensive and gross and unsettling, and... God, I thought we were finally making strides in the right directions for female superheroes with such things as Jessica Jones, but... Guess not. Guess these guys felt like bringing it back to square one. So, final rating for this movie. I'm giving Batman the Killing Joke a 5 out of 10. On the whole, I would say it's mediocre. If I had to judge the two halves like these people, those people who want to defend this movie want to, I'd say the second half is a 7 out of 10. I actually really like the second half. I wouldn't say it was great, because like I said, it's held down by all those problems I said, like the thing, it's not a hard R, this needs to flow more like a movie and not like a comic book. But the first half, I would give a 3 out of 10. I thought it was terrible. It's pretty bad. I don't know how no one said this is offensive, sitting through the first half, and the only thing that keeps it from being truly awful, 2 out of 10, is the voice acting. The voice actors try to sell it, and it's Kevin Conroy and Tara Strong who they try. I guess if it wasn't for them, I would say this was a 2 out of 10 the first half, but they held it together slightly. So, final thoughts on this movie is, if, in my opinion, if you ever want to go see this, skip the first half. Just don't even bother with it. Just pretend it isn't there. But if you want a complete Batman story that explores the connection between the Joker and Batman, is actually really good. It portrays Barbara as a badass crime fighter, as she is not an over emotional whining bitch. And I'm not saying that about Barbara Gordon as a character, like in most Batman things I've seen her in. I'm talking about in this movie, how they portrayed her. This story also pays tribute to The Killing Joke, and it also has a musical number from Mark Hamill as the Joker, which is even better in my opinion than the one in this. I would highly recommend playing Batman Arkham Knight. This has a really great Batman story that, like I said, it even pays tribute to The Killing Joke at some points, at a certain point in the game, and my god, did I think it was better than this movie. So, yeah, that's my thought on The Killing Joke. God, I was really... Sorry if that got really dark in the second half. It just did really skeeve me out, the fact that this happened the way it happened. So, yeah, that's my only thought. Like I said, it's just such a shame with, many strives to make females shown in a more positive light in superhero films now, in television nowadays. Yeah, just we have Supergirl now. That's a really good that's a really upbeat and enjoyable show that does not just that's not just about the main hero's quest to fuck someone. So that's my thoughts on The Killing Joke. My god, how did this go so wrong? But yeah, YouTube, as always, please subscribe. Hopefully my next review won't be as dark as this one was, but I really had to rip into the second half. I really did find it really offensive. So yeah, YouTube, as always, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.